word. That's all it took. Not a law, not a policy, not a single arrest. Just one word, said out loud by one powerful man. And 2 months later, a country has hunger strike, a march on parliament, and police reviewing hundreds of hours of viewed footage. Before you keep watching, I want you to actually picture it with me. Not just listen. Picture it. A 20-year-old girl in Delhi for 3 years. Her life had exactly one shape. Wake up before sunrise, study, coaching class, study again, sleep for a few hours, repeat, no weekend. Worth mentioning, friendships put on hold. What do you sacrifice 3 years of your life for? For her, it was one single exam. It's called NEET, India's medical college entrance test. Pass it, and you get to become a doctor. Fail it, and 3 years of your life just evaporates. This year, that exam collapsed. Leak allegations surfaced, the entire test cancelled. 3 years gone in one announcement. If that happened to you, what would you feel? Anger, grief, both probably all at once, with nowhere to put it. Here's what happened instead. India's top judge looked at people exactly like her and used one specific word to describe them. Cockroaches. Parasites. Her name. The name she gave to reporters covering the protest was Sona Bisht, and she didn't go quiet. She went to parliament. So here's what I actually wanted to figure out. Not was the judge wrong? That's easy. I wanted to know how does a sitting Chief Justice end up comparing an entire generation to an insect on the record, in public.
Here, youngsters like cockroaches, they don't get any employment, they don't have any place in profession. Some of them become media, some of them become social media, some of them become RTI activists, some of them become another activists, and they start attacking everyone. And you people file contempt petition because High Court is not taking up the matter of as if there are already parasites in society who attack you people, who attack the system, and you want to join hands with them.
No. I understand.
May 15th, 2026, Chief Justice Surya Kant makes a comment describing unemployed young people entering fields like journalism and activism using that word, cockroaches, parasites of society. He later clarified he meant something narrower than all young Indians. The clarification didn't travel nearly as far as the original sentence did. It almost never does. Let's actually be fair here for a second, because I think this is the only way, the only honest way to tell the story. India has one of the largest youth populations on the planet. Hundreds of millions of people under 25. They're competing for a job market that simply has not kept the pace. From a distance, this generation doesn't want to work. It's a complaint you'd hear almost anywhere on earth right now. And maybe you've heard a version of it yourself. In the US, they call it quiet quitting. In China, it's laying flat. Tankping in Japan, Harvey men. Young men opting out of traditional career and marriage grind entirely. Same accusation, different language, every single time. So if the story stopped right there, you'd probably nod along. Harsh judge, sure, but maybe there's a kernel of truth in there. Then I found out what people like Sona had actually been doing with every single day of those 3 years. Not avoiding work, drowning it, coaching center that rained 10 to 12 hours a day, family saving, sometimes years of parents' income poured into private tutoring. Because Getting into medical school in India is one of the most brutally competitive process on the planet. Here's a number that stopped me. Millions of students sit for NEET every year, competing for a fraction of the available seats. This isn't a side hustle. This is the central project of person's entire early adulthood. A 30-year-old political communication strategist named Abhijit Dipke. It studied for a time at Boston University in the US, looked at it and saw it and didn't flinch. He rebranded it. He launched something that called the Cockroach Janta Party. Said it out loud. It's a direct, cheeky parody of India's actual ruling party, the BJP. Swap one word and you build a punchline, and the protest brand in the same move. He expected a shrug, maybe a few thousand shares, a 48 hours news cycle, then nothing. 16 days after launch, over 350 signups, more than 20 million followers on Instagram. Numbers most actual political parties would kill for. And then something happened that nobody, including Dipke by most accounts, fully predicted. People took it offline. They started showing up to real protest, dressed as the exact insect they've been called, on purpose, in costume. Sit with that for a second when you're insulted. The normal instinct is to hide the wound, to prove the insult wrong quietly. This generation did the exact opposite. They put the insult on like a costume and walked down the street in it. This is starting to sound familiar. It should. A generation turning a symbol nobody planned into a movement nobody could ignore. That's Hong Kong's umbrella in 2019. That's Sri Lanka's Aragalaya protest in 2022, which ended up with the president fleeing the country. That's Kenya 2024. Youth-led protests against the finance bill, and most strikingly, that's Bangladesh in 2024, where a student-led movement over government job quotas escalated into a mass uprising that ended up the Prime Minister's 50 years rule. This is the pattern I want you to notice, because it's going to matter a lot by the end of this video when governments underestimate their own young people. History has a pretty consistent way of correcting this mistake. So let's go back to Sona, because by this point, the movement had a name, a symbol, millions of followers, and one more thing, it needed credibility from someone that whole country already trusted. New stakes, a respected figure joins. That's where Sonam Wangchuk comes in, an engineer and longtime social activist, genuinely well-known and respected across India. Not a Gen Z meme figure at all. He joined the movement and began a hunger strike, demanding the resignation of Union Education Minister over how NEET had been handled. The movement spread. Reports track it reaching 7 cities across India. And then on July 20th, organizers made their biggest move yet. A march straight toward the Parliament of India. Not a symbolic gesture, about a direct confrontation with the state power, as a protest movement can stage anywhere in the world. Huge numbers showed up. They pushed through central Delhi straight into police barricades, and then it turned physical. Here's where the story gets genuinely contested. And I want to be honest with you about it instead of picking a side for you. CJP organizers say police used excessive force. Police say some protesters turned violent first, tried to break through the barricades. Somewhere in the gap between two accounts in what actually happened, which is exactly why Delhi police are now reviewing over 250 pieces of footage. CCTV drone, body camera, trying to reconstruct it frame by frame. Wangchuk, still fast days into it, was reportedly forcibly removed from the protest site. Not long after his health deteriorated, he was hospitalized. He said he isn't stopping. And Sona, the girl who lost 3 years of her life to a cancelled exam, said something that's stuck with me since I read it. She said the confrontation did scare her of it. Anything. It made her more certain she was living until the people making decisions actually started listening. Read that back. That's not a profile of someone who doesn't want to work. That's a profile of someone who worked so hard for so long that she has genuinely nothing left to lose by speaking up. So where does actually stand right now? And as I am making this video, a senior government minister reportedly sat down with the movement representatives for the first real talks since this all started. According to reporting, that outreach hasn't actually cooled things down. Dipke has publicly said that movement isn't going anywhere, which raises the real question underneath all of this. Is this a genuine, lasting political force? Or is it viral energy that eventually burns out? The way a lot of movement built on momentum alone tend to. Honest uncertainty, credibility, I don't think anyone actually knows yet, including probably the people running it. And I think it's more honest to tell you that than to pretend this video has a titty ending. So let's finally answer the question this whole video is titled after. The problem with India's Gen Z. I went looking for it, genuinely looking. Years of studying a collapsed exam that wasn't their fault. Suicide that barely made international headlines. A hunger strike, a march that ended in violence in hospital beds. I never found laziness. I found a generation that did everything that was asked of them and got called vermin the moment they asked why it still wasn't enough. And here's what I think. This story is actually teaching us, because I don't think this is just about India. And I don't think you should watch this and feel like it's someone else's problem happening in someone else's country. Every generation in nearly every country eventually hears some version of the same accusation from the one before it. You're too soft, you don't want it enough, we had it harder, and nearly every single time, historically. The accusation turns out to be less about the young people and more about a system that has quietly stopped working, looking for someone else to blame. Cockroaches, as it happens, are one of the only creatures on this planet built to survive extinction level events. You can spray them, stomp them, starve them. They adapt anyway, every time. Maybe that wasn't the insult. The judge thought it was. Maybe it was a warning. Sona Bisht didn't set out to make history. She set out to become a doctor. But when the system took that from her and the people in power called her a parasite for being angry about it, she picked a side. She chose to be loud instead of disposable. And if any part of her story felt uncomfortable, familiar to you, wherever in the world you're watching this from, that's not a coincidence. That's the lesson. And at the last of this video, I have a message for my Indian friends. जिनके पास power है, अगर आप decide करें, then we can do it. While I was making this video, I got the news, the protests are ended. But this question remains the same. Is with removing just one minister, can this problem will be solved? This, no one knows if the grind is everywhere. Please don't forget to share, subscribe, and like this video, because this would help me out to reach out to all of the unheard voices, events. I'll take my leave now. We'll see in the next video.